Today, we get to talk to the unsinkable Chrystal Rose. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of Culture Cast. I'm really excited to have you guys here with me, and I'm really excited about this episode. I have Chrystal Rose on the line, and she is an entrepreneur, an author, and on top of that, I've actually known her since I was 15 years old. So this is really cool, and we're just going to jump into it. Chrystal, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Doing pretty good.
Good. Well, thank you for making the time to do this. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to talk to you. I've wanted to do something with you for a long time, and I think I finally found something. So that's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's start off, just for the people who don't know who you are. Talk a little bit about yourself, what you do. I know you've got kind of an extensive resume, so why don't you talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. So originally I started in the promotional marketing world. After I got out of high school, I didn't really want to continue my education for a while. I was schooled out. So I just kind of had odd jobs here and there. I worked in the service industry, and then I moved to Key West and ended up working as a promotional model for Jack Daniel's. And it was seriously the coolest job ever. I got to wear a super cute outfit and talk to people. But what happened while I was doing this was these people would run up to me and be like, "Oh my God, I love Jack Daniel's. It's the best. Will you take a picture with me?" And like, "Oh, I got to call my friend. He's going to be so jealous. He loves Jack Daniel's." And what intrigued me was that I was a nobody. I was a girl in a t-shirt. But this giant brand was able to like reach out and touch an individual consumer. So I thought it was so cool. And I was like, I have to learn more about that. Obviously, I learned that was marketing and, part of marketing. And I was like, cool, I need to go to school for this. I want to learn more. So at like 22, I decided to pursue a bachelor's in marketing. I minored in creative writing because I'm a writer, and I just kept getting jobs in the promo world. I was a Miller Lite girl for a while. I ended up getting a job at a market research firm, kind of worked my way up from being like kind of a lowly, person in the qualitative department to running the department, being a supervisor, and then I wiggled my way into the marketing director position. Somehow, I don't know how I managed that at like 25. So I had always wanted to start my own promotional marketing company since I was 22. And I ended up running someone else's company for a few years. I was managing 9 states. I had managers under me, and I had girls that I directly managed. So I had about 300 or so contractors that were working under me. So that was pretty fun. And then I got the opportunity to start my own business in 2012. So I started a promotional marketing company. I was sort of in bed with my client at the time. They were my first client and my business partner. And as you can probably guess, that didn't go super great.
Probably not.
So after about 10 months, we realized things weren't really working, decided to go our separate ways. I continued with the company. Ended up meeting some awesome women, the indie chicks. They wanted me involved, so I became a partner in that company, doing first their marketing and then operations. And then last year in February, I kind of walked away from both. We dissolved the magazine. I decided I didn't want to do marketing for other people anymore. And I went forward and launched my own brand, Rebellia, which is a clothing company for athletic women. So that's the short version.
That's awesome. So you've been in quite a few positions where you have like actually managed other people and been responsible for that, which is something that I'm really interested in. I mean, this whole podcast was predicated on, company culture and, putting people first. And how did that work out? Because the first time you did that, you were actually working for somebody else. So what was it like keeping the people, that you oversaw, like, motivated and engaged when you weren't really solely responsible for the company culture?
So I think like my very first job managing other people when I was a supervisor at the market research firm, I realized very early on that micromanaging never gets anyone anywhere. At least it doesn't make your people happy. And when they're the ones that are doing the work for you, their happiness is kind of important. So I was currently being micromanaged at the time, but I had a small team, and my whole thing was like, listen, I like results. So, if you're doing your job, I don't really care if you're on MySpace, like during the time that, the clients are busy or, as long as they're happy, that's what makes me happy. So I kind of learned early on, even just with like a couple of people under me, that, if they come into work and you're nice to them and not like a pushover, like, hey, if I come in and this place is dirty, that's a problem. Like, clearly you're not doing your job or you're distracted. But if everything is done, what do I care how you got there? I don't. I care about the results. So I took that very early on. And then when I ran a marketing company for someone else, she was very, very good about, hey, listen, when our girls are happy, our clients are happy. And so we pay them often, we pay them well, and we make sure that they are happy, because at the end of the day, if they're not doing their job well, then our clients are going to be happy. So I kind of had that instilled in me, like, from myself, but then also, it was kind of reaffirmed when I went to work for someone else.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat now. Well, at least for the next 4 days. I work for a company where I am, I'm number 2 in the company, and I am completely micromanaged, and it's I've found it sometimes difficult, especially a small company like I work for. It can be difficult to really, like, focus on making the guys that I manage happy, and so they can stay productive and make the customers happy when I'm being micromanaged. So it's always nice to hear how other people are able to do that.
Yeah, I think it creates like a chain of fear almost. It's like you're being micromanaged, so you're kind of stressed out because you want them off your back, and so then you kind of, it's easy to project that and push that onto the people under you, because if they don't do their job well enough, then you're going to catch heat for it. And it just kind of trickles down. And I think that when you're looking over someone's shoulder to make sure that they're doing their job, like, what are you doing? You're not doing yours. So rather than trying to fear someone into, or, micromanage someone into doing their job, I always feel like if you empower them to do their job, and you also open the door and say, hey, listen, how can I make you more successful at your job? Because when you're successful, I'm successful, and then everybody wins, rather than that fear trickle down micromanaging stuff.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Can't even build on that. That was perfectly said.
No.
So after the marketing thing, you started Rebellia, and I know it started off like just you at first, correct?
Yes. Just me. Yeah, I was done with partners. I was kind of over the partner thing. I've done that, in 2 different respects. I've had both male partners and then female partners, and it just, for various different reasons didn't work out. So I decided to kind of go at this by myself.
Gotcha. But you've recently, I know you had an intern, and you have a full-time employee now, correct?
She's not full-time. She's still part-time, but she is a W-2 employee. She's been with me over a year now, a little over a year, which is crazy.
And is there really any difference as far as management is concerned? Is I assume there's a little bit of a difference. It's probably a little bit more intimate when it's just you and one other person, rather than you and a whole team. But as far as the philosophy is concerned, is it all pretty much the same?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't ask her to do anything that I wouldn't or haven't done myself. I think that's really important, especially as a business owner. I mean, you're kind of responsible for everything. If, something blows up in your face, you're not going to catch heat from your boss. Like, it's you. It's on you. So, having someone working closely with them, I give her a lot of liberties, tell her to take liberties. Obviously I see everything that happens, but I don't micromanage her because I don't have time for that. I do not have time. I have so many other things that I need to be working on. And that's why I brought someone on, because I felt like they would be able to do all the extra things, like an additional arm, that I'm not really able to do, but that needs to be done and is kind of mundane. And then I can move forward and work on growth.
Gotcha. Okay. So I want to jump ship real quick, and then we're going to get back to your businesses, because I really want to hear about your hiring process, because you really, really intrigued me. But I know that you're very active on social media, and I've seen, the way that you engage with the people who follow you and the way that the people who follow you engage with you. And I'm a big believer that, company culture doesn't just stop with the way that you treat your employees. It continues on into the way that you interact with your audience and your customers and all that. And, it seems like you how do I phrase this? You find it seems like, you hold providing value at a really, really high importance. And like how has that affected your business and the interest in what you're doing? I don't know if you can tell where I'm going with this, because I'm starting to lose it at this point, but I know what I'm trying to ask.
I have no idea what you're asking.
Well, it just seems, I believe that company culture really surrounds, in order to have a good one, you got to put people first. And it seems like that's what you do in how you interact on social media.
Well, I guess, I don't know if this will answer your question, but I've always really felt that as long as you have something worth having, then you should be giving. So I like to, write articles, provide content, interact with, whether you're ever going to buy something from me or not. Sometimes it's just like knowing that you're not alone. If you read an article and you're like, wow, I'm not alone. Someone else feels this way. Or that was really awesome advice. Thank you so much. Providing that to other people to me is important, especially because I don't have time to sit here and go one-on-one and give myself away for free anymore. Just don't. So, being able to take the time to online is really important to me. And sometimes it's just nice to, when people say like, oh my God, you're so inspiring, like, it's super cool, because it's not, for me, it's not like I walk around and be like, yes, I am so inspiring. It's cool because like, I know that whatever it is that I'm doing, especially when I feel like I'm not doing anything right or I'm totally lost, to have someone say that makes me feel awesome, that like, okay, like, you're still helping people. I think it's important to like never lose sight of other humans, and to treat other humans, just be with kindness. And if you can help someone, awesome. Like, I will always veer towards helping someone as opposed to just keep going, I guess, or worrying about myself.
So you're willing to leave money on the table a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to like put yourself out of business, but you're,
right.
You're willing to leave money on the table in order to provide value to somebody else and help somebody else out.
Yeah, well, because I honestly believe it comes back tenfold. Money. People are like, "Oh, money doesn't buy happiness." Well, it buys a certain level of comfort and lack of stress, I guess. So, but after a certain point, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. And yeah, like, we all want to be financially successful. We all want to, make money and justify all the money we spend during this entrepreneurial journey. But, when I'm giving stuff away for free, as in my time, my opinion, et cetera, or, even, I have a Facebook group right now with my customers. I give stuff away all the time. I do contests. I stick extra stuff in their packages when they buy stuff. Sometimes I just, I have some of their addresses from either a purchase that they made or like my crowdfunding campaign, and I'll just send them something just so they, like if I see that they're having a hard time online, I'll just, send them a shaker cup or something. It's not a big deal to me. But like the few bucks that I might lose doing that, it brings back something invaluable. And that's one, my integrity as a business person and my, word of mouth PR. I have so many people that have come up to me or met me finally after for so long and be like, oh, I know who you are because this person said you were awesome at this, or this person said I should hire you for that. You can't really buy that kind of word of mouth. And just, giving of yourself, it comes back. So I may lose money giving a shaker cup away to a girl, 7 states away, but when she's talking about me on social media and how I picked up her day, it could come back.
Awesome. And so as an entrepreneur, and I know for me, I'm nowhere near the point where I'm ready to hire people. I do have a list of who I'm going to hire in what order, but I know one thing for a fact is I have a lot of the same mentalities as you as far as social media is concerned, as far as how running a business is concerned. And I know that when I do start hiring people, I want people with the same mentality as me, people who are just as interested in that philosophy as I am. And I know you have a very, I don't remember the exact word you use, but you have a pretty rigorous hiring
Hunger
process.
Games
Yes,
style.
Yes, Hunger Games style hiring process. And I really want to hear more about that.
Yeah. So, one thing I feel like as an entrepreneur, you're never going to hire someone who loves your business as much as you do.
Oh,
and
absolutely
expecting that is just setting yourself up for failure. But you can find people who are close to that and who will take ownership of your company or of your brand. And I think that finding that is super important. So, I guess what I do, and like I said, I've hired a lot of people. I had hundreds of girls work for me. And some guys too. And I realized that, people are lazy. A lot of people do not want to work. And if people will say that they want to work, people interview amazingly, and then you get them, and then they just really disappoint you. And so I realized that the more hoops I make someone jump through, the more likely they are to be exactly what I'm looking for. So hardworking, with a good work ethic, I think is minimal. I can teach a lot of stuff to people, but I can't teach a solid work ethic. So that's something that I am most looking for when I hire someone. Are you going to show up? Are you not going to make excuses? Are you not going to be late? Are you not going to slack? So I start out really simply with usually just a video interview. Because how hard is it? How hard is it to show up to a video interview, right?
Right.
But you would be surprised. We got people who are, oh, I can't make this time. Can I do this other time? And then they just don't show up to that time, or, so I do the initial video interview because it's kind of okay, well, I'm making this very simple to you. You don't even have to leave your home. You don't really have to look nice, just presentable enough to be seen on video. So I do that, and I ask questions that I don't really care about the answer to.
like what kind of questions?
Tell me about yourself. That's not really a question, but my first thing is always, so tell me about yourself. I don't really care what they tell me, but I think I always find it interesting what they choose to tell me, because they don't know why I'm asking that. They don't know if I mean work or about their personal life or what hobbies they enjoy. They don't know. And so it really kind of puts them almost off guard right off the bat, where they're kind of nervous because they don't know what I'm asking and they don't know why.
Interesting.
Hunger Games. So, it's kind of a psychological, I'm screwing with them a little bit because I want to see what they choose to tell me, and I want to see how kind of flustered they get, because sometimes they'll go, well, what do you want to know? And I'm like, whatever you want to tell me, go for it. Let me know. what do you want me to know? What do you think is important for me as your potential future boss that I should know about you? So, yeah, you get people that launch into like the interview mode, but I think that just some of these questions I ask kind of tosses them off guard. I ask them questions specific to the job. I think about like social media because that was my first real position for Rebellia. You ask people, especially when they're younger, about social media, and like everyone thinks they know how to do it.
Right.
But rarely does anyone actually understand the difference between like maintenance and growth
Yep.
of social media accounts, which, like I said, is fine because that's something I'm willing to teach, but it's interesting to just kind of, dig around. So I ask questions, and like I said, I don't always care about the answer as much as I care about how they answer or what they choose to tell me. And so I kind of get a good feel for people off that initial interview. And then what I like to do is kind of narrow down the field. I pick the people I like the most, and I invite them back for a second in-person interview. And this is almost always a group interview.
Oh, interesting.
Because, again, I like to kind of mess with people and, see what they can handle and, what's going through their heads. So with this position, I had 5 girls, and then I nixed 2 of them because I just, after talking to everyone else, I just felt, okay, you know what, these 2 are kind of bottom of the pack. I'm not really interested in them anymore. So I had 3 girls meet me at a coffee shop at the same time. And then I had a girlfriend of mine who, young, cute, fun or whatever, but she owns her own business. So I had her pretend like she was interviewing also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I tell you, it's deep. It's a deep process. So what I did was I said, okay, guys, so, you guys are all going for the same position at this point. Like, I think any one of you would do a great job, but I'm really looking for, someone for the long haul, someone who is really special, and I want you guys to help me with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the bar and get like some iced tea, and I'm going to sit there and hang out while you guys talk to each other for like 20 minutes. And then I'm going to sit down with each of you individually, and I want you to tell me who you would hire, and you can't say yourself. Like, this isn't a trick question. Like, I want you to tell me who you would hire based on who, talking to everyone. So that's like nerve-wracking in itself for them because they're like, wait, what?
Wow. Where did you come up with that idea?
I am very creative. If you give me like all of 5 minutes, if you have a problem or an issue or need something done, give me like 5 minutes and I'll come up with something, like a process for you, because that's just what I do. I am ridiculously creative. I have ideas coming out my head all the time.
Nice.
So I felt that was kind of a good way to get almost an unbiased yet biased perspective. Like, tell me why you would hire this person. You can't tell me why you would hire yourself, because then it takes them out of the equation and they're like, wait, no, hire me.
Right.
But they can't. So after that, I walked over and I said, okay, I kind of played a trick on you guys. I'm sorry, but, my friend here actually owns her own business, so she's not going for the same position. And of course, all the girls were going to say her because she's amazing.
Right.
So I'm like, but I really kind of wanted her inside opinion on things, blah, blah, blah. So I sat down with each of them and, listened to what they had to say. And, I was like, thanks so much. I really appreciate, your opinions. I will get back to you guys shortly on my decision to narrow it down to 2 people. So based on their feedback, it was clear that this one girl was not going to be the best fit. So I kind of nixed her. And then the other 2 girls, I said, okay, like, you're both awesome, and I could really go with either one of you at this point, and I'm really on the fence here. So I gave them a written exam.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's crazy. Like, I don't recommend this for everyone. Like, if you're just, but for me, I really needed someone who was going to come in and like blow me away,
Right.
So what I did was I asked, I had them do, really specific things about social media, like create me a post on this, go through my my blog and choose 3 articles to write Facebook posts on, make a meme for me, like just kind of things like that.
Right.
And then they got additional points for using my brand colors or, kind of just like doing things that I didn't ask for that were better than, kind of exceeded my expectations. And I gave I think it was like 8.3 repeating points for every question. And there was like a 10-point bonus question. And literally whoever got the most points was in. So it kind of took away my like going back and forth and be like, but I really liked her, but I felt like it kind of like took away that. It's so hard to make a decision sometimes when you're faced with like two really great options.
Right.
Wow. So I let them, I kind of let numbers make the choice for me, and I have not regretted it for a second. I mean, even when, before I gave the written exam, I felt like Cassie, who her official job title is unicorn. I felt like I could throw her in a room of people and she could talk about my brand and not break a sweat and like nail it. And that was after not even, it was only after a few times of meeting me and from what she could gather from being online. So it's not like she had all this, experience working with my brand. She had, she didn't know me at all. And I just felt so confident about her. So I was really glad that she pulled the head in the written. But that's how I made my decision. It's kind of crazy. And, in the past I've had promo girls and I've done the in-person interview, the group interview, and then a client interview just to like make sure that my clients, are happy with my final choice and whatnot. But yeah, it really kind of gets them to realize that this is real. This is a huge opportunity. This isn't just some dumb job where you're going to be on your cell phone all the time and be bored or that you can half-ass. This is serious. So I get to weed out the people who aren't that serious, like right off the bat.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's because especially, when the company is this young and it's such a, small team. I mean, literally, it's a 2-person team. You're not just coming in there for a job. You are legit coming in to help build a business.
Exactly.
And that's important. So you look for the skills and you look for the right attitude and, and obviously skills and experience are important, but, do you find that the right attitude kind of not necessarily trumps everything, but,
totally trumps it.
It totally trumps it.
It totally.
Yeah. Okay.
It totally does. Like unless you live under a rock, like you can't tell me that you don't know how to use social media,
Right.
Obviously the older generations aren't as equipped. We did have, an intern that was, I think in her 50s. So it was a little tougher for her to grasp stuff, but, she caught on, but, yeah, like unless you live under a rock, you don't, you know how to use social media, but I can teach you how to grow accounts. I can teach you how to find the answers and to educate yourself and how I want my brand displayed across the channels. I can introduce you to new channels. I can, I'm confident in my ability to teach that. What I can't teach, like I said before, is work ethic or a great attitude or the desire to see seeing the big picture. So many people do not see the big picture with a startup.
Right.
They're just like, oh, like you can only pay me X amount of dollars and like, it's a small company, blah, blah, blah. Whereas there are some people who are like, yeah, I can get in now and I may not be making a ton of money right now, but the potential for growth is huge. And I believe in what this company and this brand stands for. And you can't buy that.
Right.
You can't teach that. You can't buy that. So yeah, I totally think that attitude trumps necessarily knowledge, skill, experience, because, Cassie didn't really have a lot of work experience because she spent all her time in college focusing on getting straight A's.
Okay.
So that was really important to her, was getting, high honors every semester. And she had, work experience, but it wasn't like what I would look at a resume and be like, oh, wow, you're going to come in and kill it, but her attitude, her personality, everything really clicked. I felt like her and I connected. And that to me, obviously, like I said, she passed her written exam. She did a better job than the other girl when it came to some things. There were some things she didn't know at all. And I was like, that's fine. I can teach you.
Awesome.
And now she's killing it.
So do you have, and I guess this is kind of jumping out of company culture and more into the marketing thing, which is my other, my other love. But do you have, what particular channel are you, giving the most amount of focus to right now?
Well, right now, Instagram, we really consider the majority of social media important. We have a plan for Twitter. We have a plan for Pinterest. Actually, Pinterest was, kind of a big deal when she first came on board. I got her versed in our company voice right off the bat and had her doing Twitter and Facebook. And then when I felt like she had that down, I was like, hey, I need you to make Pinterest your love child. I want you to know everything there is about it. If I have to pay for a course for you to take or whatever, that's fine. But I really want you to make this your own, make this your baby. And she did. So Pinterest is really big, but I really feel like Instagram is, especially for, I'm in the apparel industry, so that's visual is so much more important. And just the connection that happens on Instagram, and you can have really explosive growth. So that is, for all the social media channels, definitely the most important.
Gotcha. Yeah, me too. And I don't even have a visual brand really. So I'm not in a visual industry. Yeah. I use it mostly for motivational quotes, but it's really good for getting exposure, I found. And I've built actually a nice little community on there, which is really nice. So I got a couple more questions that, one that just popped into my head and two that I'm probably going to ask everybody I ever interview, but, so I know that you during your hiring process, you're looking for the attitude. You're looking for people who believe what you believe and who care about building your business. Have you found though that it's I found that it's very much a two-way street. I have we have a policy at work where you call in at like 6:15 to get dispatched to your first job. I work for an electrical contractor, and but I got this one guy who has a family, and it's really important to him that he gets to bring his kid to daycare and spend that time in the morning with him. So I've allowed him because I want to make it a two-way street and make it good for everybody. And I basically made a deal with him. I was like, look, if you can give me 8 hours. You can just call in after you drop your kid off. And he's probably my hardest worker, actually, because I was able to work with him. Have you found that it's very much a two-way street, that like you kind of need to care about what they care about as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, why would anyone want to work for someone that knowing that they don't really care about you or what's important to you? Like, why would you ever want a boss that's like, yeah, don't really care if you're happy.
Right.
Be happy? I mean.
Yeah, but there's a surprising amount of business owners out there that legitimately don't really care, and it's all about what you can do for the company and not what the company can do for you. And I think that's sad.
Well, I think when people feel empowered and they feel valued, they're going to work harder. I've always said, I've had amazing employees or contractors, and, I've always told them, like, hey, listen, like, you work super hard for me. Like, you can have whatever you want. If that's more hours, less hours, a specific shift that you want to be a part of. If we have a big event, like, you're always going to be the first person I ask. I've always given them that perk of, hey, you get dibs. I'm not going to treat everyone the same. Sorry, I'm not. If you work harder than the person next to you, you're going to get rewarded. And it's not like, feel bad about yourself, you don't work as hard. It's more of like, this is what can happen when you are willing to be flexible and work hard for me. So with Cassie, we're talking a few weeks ago before Memorial Day, and she's like, hey, like, my family wants to do like a vacay thing. I told them August is out because you're gone for 3 weeks and I have to hold down the fort, but is it okay if I take Memorial Day weekend off to go on vacation with my family? And did I have a crazy amount of work that weekend that took like a lot of manpower? Yeah, I did. It was not the ideal time. Like, it wasn't, and I said, hey, I was like, yeah, make sure that you're covered and that everything is, like scheduled out, and that, the interns are on the same page, and that, everything's going to be taken care of, and I'll take care of this other stuff. Don't you worry about it, but enjoy your time, and that to me says, one, a lot about me as a boss, where I'm not going to, if you don't want to be here, and I've told her that, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. If you come in and you're feeling like bitter about, being at work today when you could have been vacationing with your family, I don't want that. I don't want that in my office. That's bad juju. So yeah, if you'd rather be somewhere else, then don't come into work. Like, take the time, don't come into work. But I always try to show her that she is important to me, that she is crucial to this brand, that I value her. And if I can't always do that with money, I do that with, perks and things, and just showing her that, like, hey, listen, if this is important to you, it's important to me too. And I make sure that any of our interns, because she deals directly with our interns, that if they're not cutting it, I'll get rid of them. If we hire someone else and they're not getting along, I'll get rid of them. Because as long as she's happy, that's what matters, because this company is only as strong as the two of us together. And if she's unhappy, it's not going to work.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And, sometimes a simple thank you can go a really, really long way.
Yeah.
I've found I don't have the ability to give, a lot of perks to my guys,
Yeah.
But I make sure to thank them
or at least
every single day.
Yeah. Or at least be like, wow, you did an awesome job on this.
Yeah.
And really mean it. Like, like every day, if I'm like, you did great. Like, yeah, like everyone gets a trophy, but when they do something that's particularly awesome, and helpful, like, to sit there and be like, thank you so much for doing this. You have no idea how helpful this is to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It goes a long way.
Yeah, we have a policy that whenever a customer calls in and like kind of raves about the electrician, we call them right away and say, we'll interrupt whatever they're doing, and say, hey, look, this customer just called and they absolutely loved what you did for them, and we just wanted to say thank you for that. And it goes a long way. It really gives them a boost of motivation. So, so what's next for you? What's going on in the future?
I mean, we're just gonna keep plugging away at Rebellia. Right now, we were in the games box, which is a subscription box. We had a gift card in there, so we have a bunch of sales rolling in from that.
Awesome.
So it's pretty exciting. A lot of exposure in the community. So I've got little tricks up my sleeve. I mean, I have to grow myself as a personal brand too. I think that that's really important for the company, is my visibility, which I don't always want to be visible.
Right.
If I could help it, I would not be online at all. I would be hiding in a cave somewhere. But I have to be on social. I have to be interactive. And these days, I think it's important as a founder, as a entrepreneur, like, you give people more of a reason why they should shop your brand as opposed to go somewhere else, because they identify with you and relate to you and like you, and you're the one inspiring them. So it's important for me to continue to build my brand. I've got some things coming out this fall. I'm going to Tanzania in August to volunteer with some female students of this program. They all learn business, entrepreneurial skills, English, and whatnot, so they can become financially independent. The organization is called Give a Heart to Africa, and they're an amazing, amazing organization. They're nonprofit, and all the money that you give them to volunteer goes directly into the school. It doesn't go anywhere else. No one's pockets. So I'm super excited about that. I'm really looking forward to that, and just kind of building the brand and trying to we're still tweaking the business model because not everything is perfect, and getting more exposure in the fitness world is really important. So that's really what I'm going to be spending my time doing.
Awesome.
Just grinding.
That's what you got to do. So that's why we're here on a Sunday afternoon recording a podcast.
Exactly.
So where can people find you? How can they find you online?
So personally, you can find me on Instagram. My account is at Xtalrose, XTALROSE. I'm also can be found on xtalrose.com, heylittlerebel.com, and my clothing site is rebelliaclothing.com. It's Chrystal Rose on Facebook. You can follow me. I don't really have room for friends anymore. Google me. You might be afraid what you find out, but I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, Chrystal, thank you so much for making the time to do this today. I really appreciate it. I'm happy I got a chance to do this with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jason. I really appreciate it. It's kind of cool to see where you're at after all these years.
I know. It's been, oh my God, 18 years? Yeah, 18 years.
I think so.
Since we were hanging out in the rafters doing sound and lighting.
That's right. Tech crew.
Yes, tech crew. Oh my God. So, all right, awesome. Well, I look forward to keeping in touch with you on social media and hopefully doing something with you again in the future.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Chrystal, thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow, what an awesome conversation, guys! That was Chrystal Rose. And real quick before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about something that was touched on during the interview, which is that attitude trumps everything. If you are in the middle of the hiring process and you're looking for the right fit, hire for the right attitude. Obviously, there are some skills that you should definitely go to college for, and you definitely want to be hiring for, the skills and the knowledge. For example, I definitely don't want to be going to a dentist that just took a couple courses on social media and now thinks they can give me a root canal. But when it comes to the day-to-day operations of most companies, the skills can be taught. The processes can be taught. The mentality cannot. The attitude cannot be taught. You need to hire for attitude. You need to hire for the right company fit. You need to hire for culture. If you do that, you are going to be more likely to find the right candidate, the candidate that's going to stick with you for the long haul and work their face off for your company. You really, really have to focus on attitude and culture and fit if you want to build an effective team. That's it for this week, guys. This, by the way, is the final episode of CultureCast that's going to be recorded before I leave my job and jump headfirst into full-time entrepreneurship. So it's been a wild ride, and I'm excited to start the next chapter. I am still looking for more guests. I got a couple that I'm working on right now for you guys that I think would be a great interview. But I'm looking for questions to answer and people to interview. So hit me up on social media. Use the hashtag CultureCast to ask your questions, and hit me up on DM if you are interested in being interviewed or if you have an idea for somebody who I can reach out to. Guys, thank you again for watching, or for listening, rather. A little bit of a slip up there. But thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did, and I will talk to you soon.